Bum, ba-da-dum, bum, ba-da-dum. Do-do, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do, do-do-do. Mm. Mhm, mhm, mhm. All right. Seems pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. All righty, folks. How you guys doing? It's me, Alika. I've had a pretty good day. It's been a good week. It's a bit cold today, so if you notice a beautiful you know uh, blotchiness of red on my face, that's just from the cold, folks. Just from the rain and surprising amount of hail that we had here down in SoCal, Southern California. But anyhow, I just wanted to make a little bit of a stream here, kind of wanted to go live since I have that opportunity right now and just talk about a few things, one or two little things that really got me excited. So, one of the big things, pretty much the big thing that got me very excited today was this post from Twitter that I saw on Twitter, and I will share the screen right now. Add that to the stream right there. So basically, we had some pretty cool news come from Kaiju News Outlet. They've been following ToyFair 2020, and at ToyFair 2020, they revealed some new Godzilla figures, specifically Godzilla 1989 and 2003. We'll click on in, get some cool shots here. Let's see, magnify. Okay. Okay, I can't just zoom like regular. That's about so there's the basic pictures here. Godzilla 2003, he's from the Millennium era. We have him. This is based on his appearance in Tokyo SOS. And then we have Godzilla 1989 on the left hand side here. And he is from predominantly, this is his appearance in Godzilla versus Biolante. Biolante, potato, potato sometimes. Now, these are both very cool suits, very cool figures, too. Let's zoom over to the next picture. Here's a little bit of a closer shot on the Godzilla 89. And then here is a closer shot of the Godzilla 03. So let's see. So it's very cool. A lot of people are very happy, A lot of people are very happy about that. Me personally, I think it's freaking amazing. Here's a close up of the Godzilla 03. You'll see that he does have the scar on his chest, just like how he had in the movie. If I had to look just kind of at some parts of this, the feet seem very reminiscent of one of Neca's previous figures from Godzilla, Mothra, GMK, Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, all monsters attack. The feet there seem very reminiscent. At least that's the big vibe that I'm getting from it. But as you can see, what do you want to see? Go Godzilla. Okay. But you can see here, you got a jaw. At least from this angle, it almost looks like the jaw is a little long, but if that's a tricky thing. If it's too long, then you don't want an underbite, and if it's too short, then it's going to look a little goofy. It's going to look like a big rabbit. But it's very interesting. I like the scar because Tokyo SOS is a sequel to Godzilla against Mecha Godzilla. And in the climax of that movie, Mechagodzilla, or in this movie's iteration, Kiryu, was able to fire off a very powerful weapon and was able to leave this very large, significant scar on Godzilla. Looks pretty cool. I like the scales. That sculpting looks really nice. Claws are claws, you know. Teeth seem pretty good. The eyes, pretty nice. And then here you get a very nice display of a lot of NECA's figures here. You know, starting down at the bottom, you see 1954 Godzilla, a different color variant of that. You see the Godzilla versus Kong, then Godzilla versus Mothra. You come up here to Godzilla versus Space Godzilla versus Destroya. Then you get your Shin Godzilla figures here. And I just love the box art here. The box art is amazing on these figures. And when I say box art, I more or less mean the posters. I love seeing these posters, these movie posters on these boxes. It really makes it a lot of fun. I'll get back to that in a second here. Then you got your legendary series Godzilla. So, you know, you get your Godzilla King of the Monsters. Looks like a variant of Mothra here, a yellow instead of a blue. And you got your blue Godzilla that I'm assuming this is just a regular color Godzilla. Pardon me. You have a Rodan, no variant of Rodan yet. And then up top, you got, you got your 1989 Godzilla, and you got your '03 Godzilla. Very cool. You even see you get to see some of these cool little things like kryptonite, the bat grapple gun, and some big, I guess maybe pop gun that the Joker had. Maybe I don't know. Anyhow, so that's cool. Now let's see, just kind of scrolling up here. You know, you get a nice display here of Godzilla statue at ToyFair. Okay, I got some news on a Godzilla 2014 box style repackaging, a packaging reissue. Very cool. You have an article here. Let's see, from Godzilla Movie News, and then a dog eating a pizza. All right, here we have a SH Monster Arts display. Bandai Tamashii Nations. So you got some, you got Godzilla from King of the Monsters. You have a burning variant of him. Pretty good, pretty cool. Get a little closer shots. I think it's fine, burning Godzilla, I think is the correct term. I don't know. You get some funny plush Godzilla dolls and figurines. Very cool. You see the funny plushes on the top, and then here are their figurines. That's pretty cool. I like this Ghidorah. He looks kind of funny with the three heads. And this Godzilla's seen a lot of stuff. Got them little doll eyes. Let's see. Scrolling up here, their most recent post. I really enjoy this post because this is the figure that I really like. The 1989 Godzilla. Okay. So there's a lot of good stuff here that I like. There is probably some stuff that you got to be aware of. So I like the head sculpt. The head sculpt looks great. It looks very Godzilla like, Nothing wrong with what NECA has done per se in the past with their Heisei era Godzillas, but I really like this head. Okay, it comes with a breath effect piece. That's pretty good. It's a nice blue with some white. He is very bulky. It's kind of that thing with the Heisei era. The Heisei era of Godzilla. They have very, very thick legs, very thick legs. I guess you can see it even better on this picture here. Just tree trunks, pretty much. Big old drumsticks, basically. And looking at it here on this picture, I think the figure in hand, you probably won't be able to do much in the way of moving the legs, just due to the nature of the figure, like the sculpt of the legs, the sculpt of the plastic. The arms seem to be pretty much what they usually are. They, at least here in this picture, they seem to be pretty representative of the default position that Godzilla had in those Heisei era movies. The basic kind of um, chicken wings, almost chicken wings. Nothing wrong with that. And honestly, I was fine with that as a kid. I always knew Godzilla could still fight in spite of having arms that are pretty small compared to his legs and his tail and all that. Let's see, the breath effect piece, it'll probably be like the other previous NECA figures, it'll just plug in to the mouth. Here's another close up here, another close up there of Godzilla. Looks pretty good, you got that kind of that almost mammalian kind of mouth there. Like a big cat or a dog. And I guess maybe that's why I like this design of Godzilla when I was a kid. It just even though he was still fierce, he just seemed more a little friendly, I guess. I don't know. It didn't seem quite as frog like as the some of the Showa era Godzillas. That's what I kind of always got the impression of when I was a kid, at least when I watched those older Godzilla movies. Okay, so the chest as well. That's something to consider. The chest here, it's pretty much it. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, when you get a NECA Godzilla figure, most of the time there you have to be very patient with the posing and the movability of the thing. If you try and pose it too much, you're going to end up snapping off a foot or snapping off breaking an arm or a hand. So you definitely got to be aware of that. the tail the tail is something that I was really looking at, trying to get a good look at as I was kind of like going through some of the pictures here. Okay, so here's the atomic breath piece. They have a little light shining in on that because it doesn't come like that. It's not an electronic toy. But that was something that I was wondering about. The tail of this guy. The tail here seems interesting. I'm not sure. I mean, it looks to me like it'd just be a bendy wire here in this tail, but because really the only other Godzilla, I have a few NECA figures of Godzilla. I have one on hand right here of. Let me put this back on the main screen, the big screen. So I have one figure here, the 2014 Godzilla. It's a very basic. Well, it's very basic with the tail. You have a few. You have very limited, somewhat limited poses you can do with the tail. It's got a few segments at the base of it where you can do a few things here and there. You can't really move it. It's mostly just you can swivel them a bit. Ooh, man, that's a little tough. Really, where most of the posability comes is this last section here of the tail, which has a bendy wire. Bendy wire. And with that, you can get some variety in your poses. Me personally, I'm not a huge fan of the bendy wire. I'd rather have it all be in segments. Oh, as I try to straighten that back out again. I'd rather have it be segmented all the way, you know. And let me just take this off for a sec. Back into the stream. All right. So now the kind of tail that I really like, I will show you. This is probably my favorite figure that I have from Neca. That is a Godzilla figure, and that is the Godzilla versus King Kong figure. Now, there's I get with this figure, I can probably show you a few things that might be the case with this um, this Bio Goji suit, this Godzilla 1989 suit. And let me see here. So the tail. Something that I like with the tail is it's got ball joints at the base of the tail, all the way down, and something with the ball joints of the tail. It's basically very simple. It's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections, and you can get a pretty decent pose with it. It'll stay, at least with this mold and this style of the suit. I think it really looks good. I love this figure personally. I love this. I love this suit too. I honestly think this is a bit of an underrated suit for Godzilla. You know, a very underrated design of the character. But I'm gonna probably say that with this suit, with this figure, I think this will probably be pretty reminiscent of what we're going to get with the 1989 Goji, you know, Godzilla figure, you know, when that comes out. And let me just put this back onto, oh, no, I didn't want that. There we go. There we go. So basically with the 1989 figure, you know, I think it's going to be a lot of the basic same stuff, you know, same principles, you know. And if you're familiar with NECA, I think you can probably guess how certain things are going to be going. I'm scratching my nose just because I don't, you know, got a bit of an itch anyhow. So basically, it's the same basic type of dealio here. You know, looking at the tail now, I could understand. They could make that segmented tail with the ball joints, a ball jointed tail all the way down. And I think that'd be pretty good. You can definitely see, I would guess 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe five ball jointed sections of a tail. That would be my guess. Basically, you got your chest here, and on the Godzilla versus Kong, the Showa Godzilla, basically you're not going to get any ab crunch because it's not designed to have any ab crunch because it's a Godzilla. Godzilla doesn't really do well. Godzilla does he does bend over, but these Godzillas, they aren't really designed to bend down so much. They can look down a little. They can look down a little, but mostly this torso is just designed to very slightly move left and right. It's hindered, of course, by the nature of Godzilla. You know, the design of Godzilla. He has all these back plates, these dorsal plates. Those are going to hinder some movement. It's basically just another little section, another piece of the puzzle. The neck is pretty good. You're gonna get a lot of. I'm gonna guess you're gonna get some. We're gonna get some good ball joints on the neck and the head. Let's see. The arms are probably going to be fairly fairly simple. You can get ball jointed arms with pretty simple, straightforward stuff. As we see with the Kong versus Godzilla figure. Then kind of just looking back at this, pretty much seems like it'll be pretty simple. And then the legs, back to the legs. So that's pretty much going to be, earlier I was mentioning this a bit, but with the legs, like you look at the legs here, the Godzilla versus Kong figure, you can move them a bit. I mean, they look pretty good when they're just standing, but you're not really going to get too much movement in and out so much. Obviously, that'll differ from figure to figure just because of quality control. If you're able to, heat up the whole figure, then you can get some looser joints and you might get a better range of movement. Me personally, I get real iffy sometimes when I'm dealing with Godzilla figures and stuff like that, especially ones that have articulation, because that's the thing with Bandai vinyl, with a vinyl statue. Pretty much you don't have to worry about articulation. The only quality control issues you really have to worry about is usually dealing with paint and stuff like that. But with these guys, an example with this figure here, when I first ordered one of the feet was pretty much broken off. It had a peg that was basically smashed into the foot, and the foot was just destroyed. So I had to get another one. And when I got the next one, they had an issue with its head. So I basically had to do some surgery, take off the head and neck of one figure, put it on another figure that had both good feet, and all that kind of stuff. It's really, one of those things, you just kind of experience those kind of things when you collect figures and stuff like that. But anyhow, looking at, the Neca, back to this figure here, the feet, oh man, those feet are pretty much they're going to be staying stuck in there. They're probably going to be very much like, a broken record here, but they're going to be very much like this figure here. You're not really going to be able to do much with the feet. You can swivel the feet a bit. You can swivel the feet. You can kind of move it forward and move it back a little bit, but it's going to be very limited. I would not really recommend getting these kind of things for small kids, and I guess that goes without saying, but unless you want the kids to break them really quickly, you gotta be careful. These are your babies, these are your babies. But yeah, anyhow, back to our look here at the 89 Godzilla. So a reason why I really am focusing on this figure is because I really like this design. I really like the movies that it's featured in. Just for context, this suit is called the Bio Goji suit. It's called Bio Goji because it first appears in Godzilla versus Biolante, hence the bio part of the name. It was also featured in Godzilla versus King Ghidorah. And it was also used in Godzilla versus Mothra in some of the underwater scenes and a few other parts of that movie. It's a very cool suit. I really like it. Uh, Pretty much, I really like those two movies too. Biolante is an amazing monster. It's a very unique monster in design. It's one of those monsters where it's bigger than Godzilla, but it's also got a unique kind of gimmick. Some of the comments here are very funny. Is it me or is it chunkier than it should be? Nah, he's just as chunky as he needs to be. That's a pretty good picture, pretty good side by side. It's very, this Godzilla, he's built like a brick house, he is a big mountain of a kaiju, a big mountain of a monster here. He is very cool. Very cool. And I really like the breath effect that we get here. It's just nice, it's nice to have something that isn't just all white, isn't just a bunch of kind of like cloudy looking stuff. It's got some blue in it, which is pretty much what you want. When you get a Godzilla figure, you want him to be able to shoot his laser. It's just like with Batman. You get a Batman figure, you want Batman to have batarangs. You want him to have a grapple gun, you want to have a Batmobile maybe. Or with Spider-Man, you get Spider-Man, you want to have, a web. You want him to be able to swing off his webs. Iron Man, you want him to have some blasts, same thing, every figure, every character, sometimes they have a really big gimmick, they have a power. You want that. You expect that from a toy. That's what Godzilla has, of the few things Godzilla really does, the breath, his laser breath, his atomic breath. Sorry, let me get my terminology right here. His atomic breath is pretty much one of the defining things about Godzilla. It's a defining part of his character. So I'm understandably very happy with this breath blast, this atomic breath, and I look forward to seeing that in the very near future. Let's see here. Let me remove that so that I can stop that screen. Stop that screen. So earlier I mentioned a little bit about the box art, and by the box art of the NECA figures, I mean the figure or the posters of these things. Here's a nice little tweet that I got from that Star Wars girl 77. If you're not familiar with her, she's better known as Anna, that Star Wars girl. She's a real cool person. You can go ahead and click on that, find her, look her up on either YouTube or Twitter or even Facebook. She's real cool. She is a very artistic person. She has a lot of very cool thoughts on a lot of, like, a very wide variety of things. You may think that she only talks about like Star Wars, but she's very passionate. She's very passionate about Star Trek, and she's very passionate about a lot of other things. Again, she's very artistic. Check out her Etsy page or Etsy store. She really does a lot of very cool art. Here, I will show you a piece of her art, an art print that she has done. Just and yes, here's a art print that she did of Darth Vader. It is a very nice little thing there. I really like that. It's probably one of my favorites. It is very cool. Again, you can find her on YouTube. You can find her on Twitter. You can find her on Facebook. You can find her on Etsy as well. Although I gotta say, it's kind of hard to find her on Etsy.com, just because you know how sometimes you gotta type in something very specific on Etsy, like the art of that Star Wars girl. Basically, I think the easiest way for you guys to find her would be just go onto YouTube, type in Anna that Star Wars girl, and bada bing, bada boom, you're gonna be able to find her. Anyhow, so I got tagged in she tagged me in a very nice little post. I really appreciate it. I get to meet some cool people or interact with some cool people at the very least. And this was a wonderful display here by Steve on Twitter, at Steve underscore ABB21. Very cool. I am very jealous of this display right here. Oh, and you know what? When I saw this, I was like, oh my goodness, he's even got the boxes. Oh, the boxes are amazing. It's basically having a movie poster. Very small movie posters. And I love what he's done. Just the great, so much great symmetry and oh gosh, so much good stuff. I like the Hot Wheels and the Lego figures. I like those little things too. See some Rick and Morty. Um, you got your King of the Monsters Godzilla. You have the burning Godzilla form over here. Then you get your SNES Godzilla or Sega Godzilla, I don't know, the video game Godzilla. Then you got your Godzilla vs. Destroyer, Space Godzilla. It's got some nice wave effect piece there. Got Shin Godzilla. That figure, it's pretty okay. It's pretty good. Then you got your Godzilla King of the Monsters. I like it. I like it a lot. I like the green. It's like he's like puking a bit almost. But I love how it's like the little poster right there. You got your 19 Godzilla. Then you have your Godzilla versus Kong. I love the trees. And then you have your Mothra versus Godzilla right here. Very cool, very cool. That's something that I really like. And that's something that I have a pretty good appreciation for, or a better appreciation for now as an adult, as a guy who really enjoys artsy kind of things. Me, myself, I am not much of an artist, but I do really like finding really good things here. As you can see, my light rings and stuff, and then you can see on this thing of King Ghidorah, and also another. Okay, on this Godzilla. Very cool stuff. But I made a little video about that a day or two ago. But man, it's really cool stuff. I'm very excited for a lot of this really cool stuff that we're getting out here from Neca and all this kind of stuff. Let me just remove that, stop that screen, and just pull up that. Let me see. Tweet from Kaiju News Outlet. There we go. Look at this guy. Look at that. The first official images of the new NECA Godzilla 1989 figure. They have been revealed. The figure is scheduled to release in June. Wonderful looking figure. I have a basic idea, a general idea of how the figure is going to feel, how it's going to move. You can kind of see how the legs are. You can see, you got an effect piece, atomic breath, a good Godzilla figure has atomic breath. Really cool stuff. You get some close-up shots, some little artsy kind of flair on the sides. You get a nice little beam effect. It'd be cool if they sold like little buildings from Neca. But you can make some cool stuff without that. But it's great. Here's a little side-by-side picture here of the figure and the a picture from one of the movies. Uh, really cool stuff. Very cool stuff. And basically, folks, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about today. Really, I am just very excited about, you know, being around and seeing all these cool stuff, cool new things. Lots of cool figures coming out. Uh, you know, Toy Fair 2020 just happened. Lots of cool things were revealed with that. With that event. And personally, I'm looking forward to it. Something that I liked was, there was something for everybody pretty much, whether it was, Marvel stuff or more, other properties like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, stuff like that. Lots of stuff. And I'm still catching up on a lot of that. And, here's looking optimistically forward to the future. And, folks, I hope you guys enjoyed kind of just looking through some of this stuff, kind of thinking and talking about all these new developments in the world of monsters and kaiju and superheroes and all those kind of things. I'm Mongo. Hopefully, this has been a pretty enjoyable little excursion for you guys. And I'll see you around next time. And that's all for right now. I'll see you later. Bye bye. Ending broadcast.